Morning everyone, welcome to another Compliance Over Coffee. And this morning we want to talk about a topic that I'm not sure I've talked about before actually, but you have got all of your compliance in place, and I don't just mean insurance and registrations, I mean all of your legally required policies, risk assessments, procedures, in-house complaints. You know exactly what you're doing, you understand exactly what you're doing, all your registrations, appropriate insurance in place, and you think, I can breathe a sigh of relief now, just get on with it, that's it, all done and dusted, bye-bye compliance. Sadly, no. Because whilst regulations may not often intrinsically change themselves, what does change is interpretation of the legislation and regulation. What does change is how supervisory bodies see that regulation and legislation, see changes in the world environment, in the economy, and how they adapt how they view our supposed compliance and what we should have and what we should be doing. So to give you an example, you could have done our course 12 months ago, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and think, I've got the documents in place, I don't have to do any more training, I'm just going to carry on sourcing. But actually, quite often within a 12-month period, those documents get adapted or changed. Why? Because of changes in interpretation. And it's those changes that, if you aren't aware that they have happened, can lead you down the route where, even though you believe that you have full compliance in place, if you are inspected, actually your processes, your procedures and your documentation isn't up to date and won't cover you. So how do you stay up to date? There are basically two ways to do it. The first one is to ensure that you are connected with all of the appropriate bodies, and you have maybe Google Alerts, which I have on, and you attend webinars and you're listening to social media channels appropriately for the supervisory bodies, and you read their updated guidance on a regular basis, because they don't tell you that the guidance has been updated, they just update it. You are expected to research and understand for yourselves. So you either do that and you do all of the research yourself, you stay up to date yourself, and I mean on an almost weekly basis, or at the very least monthly basis, you should be doing this. Or you join our national association, NAPSA, where we have our ear to the ground, we communicate on a regular basis with all of the supervisory bodies, and we are connected with, or we help and support sourcing agents who have maybe gone through an inspection, had an issue with something and come to us, and we've helped and supported them. And then they've come back and they've given us feedback about what that inspection entailed, when it was, what they were asked for, and what the response was from the supervisory body. So we can then build in our knowledge based on actual supervisory interventions, rather than me just reading guides and updating you guides. So we actually go to that level of support for our members. So those are the two ways that you can stay up to date. But please pass the word around to people that even if they feel they are fully compliant and they have done someone's course and they've got all of the documentation in place, it could be just a month and your documentation could be out of date because of changes of interpretation. For instance, if you believe that you're up to date, but you haven't got a clue what proliferation financing is, you haven't got a clue how you should be assessing a trust, then you're out of date. And your documentation should reflect proliferation financing and trust, because HMRC expect to see it. That's the level of detail that HMRC, certainly for money laundering, expect to see. So that's Compliance Over Coffee for this morning. I hope that was useful to you. As always, we're here to answer any questions that you might have, so please pop them into the box. If you're interested in having a look at the National Association and how it may be able to support you, Tony will put a link to the site in the comments below the video. Other than that, I'll be back with you again next week at the usual time, Thursday morning, 8:30, for another Compliance Over Coffee. In the meantime, have a fabulous weekend. Bye for now.